2020. The visit is being seen as a part of efforts to put the relationship back on track. On Monday, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar had set the tone for the engagement, noting that having seen a difficult period in our relationship, our two nations now seek to move ahead. Viewers, do read all of this in context with what we are witnessing in terms of the tariffs imposed on India, where United States of America is concerned. Also, an attempt to move past in what had openly at one time been stated that Operation Sindoor was not just a operation that India was fighting against Pakistan, but a proxy operation fought by China as well. So, with that backdrop, with that narrative, these visuals, these optics coming into play, but isn't diplomacy all about this? I am connecting right now with my colleague Geeta Mohan, our External Affairs editor, who's going to add more. Geeta, over to you.
Preeti, a very important visit by Wang Yi, one of the senior most officials in the government of China, and he has met with Dr. Jaishankar. He met with his counterpart, special representatives on boundary question, and now he's calling on Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So significant, but also what is important to note over here is that every time there are SR level talks and a separate rounds that are held, one is waiting to look at what is the forward movement on the boundary question. It's a large ambit, but a specific one on disengagement and de-escalation at the LAC in the Ladakh sector. We've not seen a forward movement. It's the repeat of the same statements that have been made in the past, various rounds of talks, diplomatic as also military level talks between India and China. So no forward movement on whether if we'll be seeing de-escalation soon, but this is a preparatory visit also ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit for the SCO summit in Tianjin. So one will again have to wait and see how that really pans out, giving it a personal touch and calling on the Prime Minister, inviting him to Tianjin for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization at a time when tariffs are hitting hard to both the countries when it comes to America, whether it's China or for that matter India.
Geeta, all of this also needs to be viewed in context of what we witnessed in very recent memory, Operation Sindoor, where we had openly stated that this wasn't an operation that India was fighting against Pakistan, but also a proxy war where China was concerned, number one. Number two, read this also in context of the tariff war going on between India and the United States of America.
Well, absolutely, but also in context of where he's headed next, Preeti. The entire Operation Sindoor, where China stood behind Pakistan, is his next stop. He is going to go to Pakistan. Unlike many countries, many leaders who have, and a very painstaking effort made by India over the years to dehyphenate India and Pakistan, we've seen China, and we're looking at a very senior official from China hyphenating India-Pakistan in a way with the two visits that are taking place one after the other in this very same trip. So after coming to India, he is now going to go to Pakistan. Again, raises many questions as to whether if there's going to be any forward movement, can there really be a thaw in relations between India and China? The necessity is that India and China engage. The necessity is India and China need to look at trade, given the kind of atmosphere that has been created because of the United States of America. But that's necessity. Does it come from a place where there can be an ironclad friendship between India and China? Absolutely not, because that friendship and that space, that place has already been taken by Pakistan, which is where Wang Yi would be headed next.
All right, so is there a reset where India and China relationship is concerned? Well, one would need to really wait and watch, because, many things have happened in the recent past, and what you see right now, of course, is a diplomatic need, but need to be read in a larger context. Appreciate you joining us, Geeta. Thank you there. All right, viewers, talking about India and Pakistan, the big question is, should India play Pakistan where the Asia Cup is concerned? Well, that's already happening. 14 September is the match with Pakistan in Asia Cup. Lots of commentary, lots of opinion. Many suggest that national pride should be over sporting ties, especially when we've drawn a new normal where Pakistan is concerned. If water cannot flow with terror, then why is cricketing ties where terror is concerned? So what we did On the political stock exchange, Sea Voter took all these questions to our respondents. What do they think? Should, though it's happening, it's on the cards, but what do our voters feel? Should India play with Pakistan, especially after the Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor? One decision, massive implications. India will play Pakistan in the Asia Cup 2025 on September 14th. After the Pahalgam terror attack. After Operation Sindoor. After the valor and the might of our armed forces. After India defining a new normal with Pakistan. Should India play cricket with Pakistan? Should India's bat answer Pakistan's bullets? Or should India pick national pride over sporting spirit? If terror and water cannot flow together, can cricket and terror go hand in hand? India's emotion now tracked by India Today's political stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. Stock exchange. Unmatched, unmissable data analytics. What India thinks on. So that is the moot question. Should India play with Pakistan? Let me at least put one thing to rest. India is already playing with Pakistan because the green signal has been given. Where the Asia Cup is concerned, 14 September is the big match where India takes on Pakistan. There is always a lot of opinion, viewers, where cricket is concerned, and there is always also a lot of opinion where ties between India and Pakistan are concerned. We have seen emotional scenes. We have seen scenes where we've been exceedingly proud of our armed forces and the way they performed in Operation Sindoor. We've stood by a government when the government said that this is the new normal. But is this the new normal? Playing with Pakistan while we continue to project a new normal. What do the voters really think? Because once again, the decision has been made. India is playing with Pakistan. But should India play with Pakistan? This is the question, and a number of questions with it, which we took to our voters. Let me quickly, before we go into our panelists this evening, dive into the first question that was asked to our respondents. We've broken them up on the basis of those who vote for the NDA, those who vote for the opposition, and the others. So question one that was asked, should India play cricket with Pakistan? Those who vote for the NDA say, yes, definitely. Only 24% feel India should play with Pakistan who vote for the NDA. Opposition voters, 36.8, others 35.5. In totality, only 31% of people, which is near just about 3 in 10 people that were interviewed, feel that India should play with Pakistan. The other figures, yes, probably 13.7%. No, not at all. 51% believes that India should not play with Pakistan at all. We're going to break it down as well on a number of other questions, but I want to quickly introduce our panelists to you because, like I said, as much as it is an emotive issue, it is also an issue that concerns sports. Nikhil Nas, consulting editor, Sports India Today, in the studio with me. Sushant Sareen, senior fellow, ORF strategic affairs expert. Neeru Bhatia, senior sports journalist and columnist. I'd like to go to Nikhil, my colleague who's been tracking developments. Nikhil, the decision, I guess, has already been made by the government of India. The green light has been given and India is going to play Pakistan come the 14th of September.
Yes, Preeti. In fact, today is the day where we've kind of got an official confirmation that India is playing. Of course, I knew that the BCCI was involved in a meeting with the Asian Cricket Council a couple of weeks back, and that was sort of an agreement there where they reached that they will be participating in the Asia Cup. Remember, India are also the host, and they're ready to take this tournament outside of India to accommodate that Pakistan plays. Today, because you had the team selection and you had the captain of the T20 team also come and address the press conference, so now it's pretty much official. And I can't believe that the BCCI could have taken this decision or in fact even attended that meeting without a green signal from the government. So yes, for all practical purposes, the India versus Pakistan game is on, and not without the permission of the government. So that is something that we've established today. What is really interesting, Preeti, is when I'm looking at your numbers, because we had a recent scenario where there was a Legends League game between India and Pakistan, featuring mostly retired cricketers. That game was also planned for months in advance, but a couple of days before that game had to start, there was so much chatter on social media, so much of backlash on social media, that the players decided to pull out. Now when I look at your numbers, and probably this gives me an indication, I've broken it down roughly into two, yes or no. Mildly yes and aggressively no. I've just broken it down into yes and no, and it's a very close call where almost 45% of your respondents are okay with an India-Pakistan game, 55 say no, and that is quite an eye-opener for me, because whatever I've seen on social media, majority of the people are saying,
well, Nikhil,
no
you've
way
got
of
to
playing
also
cricket.
wait for the breakup of that figure that you see on your television screen. But yes, Nikhil is right, because if you actually, add up yes, probably, and yes, definitely, it pretty much inches towards the 50% mark, and 51% say definitely not. Let's quickly cut across to Sushant Sareen as well as Neeru Bhatia.
Sorry, Preeti, just to add on.
Come in.
Probably, because I was very surprised that the government, which had told us that we have nothing to do with Pakistan, don't touch anything that even mentions Pakistan just a short while ago, have gone ahead and given this permission. Probably they had, now that I look at your numbers, probably they did their own survey, had an idea that it's so close.
Like
it's 50,
I said, wait for the entire survey, Nikhil, because there are other questions as well. But Sushant Sareen, is this the new normal? Water will not flow with terror, but cricket definitely can.
Quite really, Preeti, the shamelessness of the BCCI is matched only by the silence of the government, which is loquacious in everything else. But when it comes to playing cricket with Pakistan, you won't get a single peep out of it.
Mr. Sareen, at the cost of coming in and interrupting you, I hardly ever do that. But why I'm doing it is Sushant Sareen, you had Nikhil just say, the BCCI wouldn't have dared to give a nod if there was no government nod.
Yeah, so the reason is, I think the government could not dare to go against BCCI. You can put it whichever way you want to put it, which means that BCCI and its leadership is far more powerful than the sentiment of people in this country or the government of India. BCCI rules this country by default because they can ride roughshod over anything that they want to, and nobody in the government or in the ruling party has the guts to go against them. But just on this particular number which you are showing, I think it would be wrong to take the yes definitely and the yes probably together. The yes probably would have a lot of caveats. There would be a lot of people who would say that, listen, because it's a multilateral cricket tournament, why can't we play that? We can't be out of every multilateral cricket tournament. So it's fine if, you're playing a multilateral tournament, etc., etc.
Right.
So there are a lot of caveats out there. So I don't think the correct way would be to club together yes, probably, and yes, definitely. To my mind, I think the more important number is the no, not at all. Because at least out there's no ambiguity.
So that's where you stand on. No, not at all. Neeru Bhatia, your quick comments.
Yeah, well, I want to first start with the fact that it's a fact that for any tour, even if the BCCI has to travel abroad, it needs a functionary nod from the government to travel and get the clearance for the tour ahead, even though the government doesn't interfere in the workings of the BCCI. Second thing, it's very interesting to people have not been talking about it. There's an Asia Cup which is going to happen. There's a hockey tournament which will happen later this year, next month, where Pakistan refused to travel due to security reasons, even though the Indian government had offered them visas, etc., and all the facilities like they were offering to other participating nations. It's a multinational tournament, but in this case, in cricket's case, the BCCI not only got the go ahead, and they are going ahead and playing the tournament. So it's different yardsticks for different sports. I think. Having said that, the call was BCCI's, and yes, the BCCI is powerful enough to have requested the tournament to go on with Pakistan and India playing, and they went ahead with it.
All right. Okay. What I'm going to do is quickly going to take all the other... I'll come back to you, Sushant. Just allow me to give in all our other figures and then we're going to come back to all three experts. So the other question, viewers, that was posed to the respondents. Once again, we've broken them into, because cricket with Pakistan is also emotive, politically speaking. We've broken them up into voters from the NDA, opposition and the fence-sitters. So this is what it looks like on the question of hypocritical of BCCI to not play bilateral cricket with Pakistan but play ICC tournaments. NDA voters, 58% feel, yes, hypocritical. 49.9% of opposition voters, total 52.1% voters feel that it was hypocrisy on the part of the BCCI to not play bilateral cricket with Pakistan but play ICC tournaments. So with those numbers on your television screen, let me go on to our third question that was posed. It's a quick snap poll that C Voter did, and the other question was, should India not play against Pakistan in ICC tournaments? Yes, nearly 45.8%. You'll see the micro data right there between opposition and NDA voters. So nearly 45.8% feel that India should not play with Pakistan in ICC tournaments. No is 21.7%. That means India should play. India should avoid Pakistan no matter what, 21.2%. So if you add it up, it's nearly about 65% that think it's not a good idea to play with Pakistan. Does resumption of cricket insult sacrifice of armed forces? All right, viewers, this is a touchy topic because all of us out there keep the armed forces of our country very, very close to our heart, and nothing compares to it. So on the question, does resumption of cricket insult the sacrifice of our braves and armed forces coming after Operation Sindoor? Yes, definitely. 62.1%, a whopping 62.1% say resumption of ties with cricket would mean insulting our armed forces. No, not at all is just 18.2%. Yes, probably 12.9%. So nearly 80% people feel that if we play cricket with Pakistan, we are insulting our armed forces that fought Operation Sindoor. Lastly, now this was an interesting question because the question was asked, should the Supreme Court intervene immediately? Because the government and the BCCI has decided to play cricket with Pakistan. Yes, 60.5% want the Supreme Court to intervene and put a stop to the match that is coming up, viewers, on the 14th of September. No, just 22.1%, can't say 17.4%. So, Nikhil, the micro data clearly mirrors what you were seeing and, anticipating on social media. Most people feel it's a no-go.
Well, I mean, these numbers are revealing, Preeti, and I think this is exactly what we were looking at and what we were gauging. I think what is the most interesting point, because you actually put in the ICC tournament, and I'm going to make a distinction here. Asia Cup is not an ICC tournament. Now, Asia Cup previously has also been postponed multiple times. I think it's still a tournament that's fluid. With an ICC tournament, you also risk sanctions. You also risk being isolated. I think those risks don't run with the Asia Cup, which is why I think when you look at an ICC tournament, and it's really heartening to see that most Indians have voted that even in ICC tournaments in the current circumstances, you wouldn't want to engage with Pakistan. But I think their result should be even greater when you just look at Asia Cup. Because as I said, Asia Cup is just, a group of Asian countries that get together a few years. Sometimes it's a 2-year gap. Sometimes that gap increases for 4 years. It keeps getting postponed as well. I can't understand what the compulsion was of the government. And I'll put it back on the government because as, you heard a short while ago as well, when Neeru was pointing out that even for the Champions Trophy, the Indian team did not travel to Pakistan. So while the BCCI may be taking all the cricketing decisions, I don't agree that, BCCI is more powerful than the government, because the government actually told the BCCI the Indian team should not be traveling to Pakistan, and then they followed that. So now on the Asia Cup front, even if India had to pull out of this Asia Cup, I don't think they risk any sort of sanctions, and I don't think that would isolate India in any account for that matter. So that is why it becomes even more surprising. And then to add to that, Preeti, as you mentioned, a short while ago or just a month ago, we were told don't touch anything that is related to Pakistan, don't watch their content. Their YouTube channels were banned, their handles on X were banned. You could not consume any Pakistani content. Diljit Dosanjh was banned for casting a Pakistani actress in their film. So if all of that existed, if that is the atmosphere that existed, How on earth
Fair
can you
enough.
go ahead and play
Is there
Pakistan?
hypocrisy there? And
Yeah.
Sushant Sareen, I'll bring you in two very pertinent questions. Nearly 80% of our respondents actually feel, Sushant Sareen, that resuming cricketing ties in whatever form with Pakistan is insulting our army braves. Number one. And there is a 60% that actually feels that the Supreme Court needs to come in and say, no, India shouldn't play with Pakistan.
No, so Preeti, frankly, I don't think the Supreme Court has any locus standi on this case. For everything,
True.
even if we want to clean drains in your colony, you have to go to Supreme Court. What kind of a goddamn country are we running that for every damn thing we run to the Supreme Court? I don't think Supreme Court has any locus standi, so I will not take this question. On the other ones, I think there's a clear contradiction which comes out that there are 80% of the people who feel that, well, it is insulting for the armed forces and the people who sacrifice or make the supreme sacrifice for the country. And then when you look at the other questions which you have put, it seems that the sentiment is a little more mixed, right? So the numbers in that sense are a little contradictory. And one of the reasons for that is that, there is that gray area, something which Nikhil also mentions, that, there could be certain sanctions put. Now, my own sense is that he's 100% correct on Asia Cup. We have cracked down on the Asia Cup in the past. We call all the shots on the Asia Cup. And I cannot for the life of me understand that if we were the hosts, then what was the reason to shift the tournament to UAE only to accommodate Pakistan? And that is bizarre in this climate at a time when the Pakistanis are threatening to throw nuclear bombs on India. You say, no, okay, fine. Because we want to play Asia Cup, we'll go to UAE. One more point, Preeti, please allow me. Nikhil
Allowing you,
talks
sir,
about...
allowing you. Go ahead. You
Nikhil
feel very
talks-
passionately about this.
No, I am. Because, I find it bizarre that at one level you say Op Sindoor is still on and you keep shouting from the rooftops. At another level, you say that, okay, to accommodate Pakistan so that we can play not one, but possibly 3 matches, we'll go to Dubai. If you can make sense of this, is as bizarre as Marco Rubio saying that China buying Russian oil does not fuel war, India buying Russian oil fuels war. Okay, but on Nikhil's point, on the ICC and the sanctions which will be put, look, this is a question of principle versus politics. Okay, if the principle is that we are not going to play against a terrorist country like Pakistan, then you stick to the principle. Then you say, I am not going to play with them, regardless of whether it is an ICC tournament or anything else. And if that means that my candidacy for hosting the Olympics, as some people are saying, I don't know what Olympics has to do with cricket, but in 2036, I don't know what the hell is going to happen in the next 6 months, considering how the world is moving. And we are talking about 2036. This is the worst kind of things, which people do out here to fool public. And which is why, if the messaging was clear, I think the survey results would have been a lot more clearer than what they emerge right now.
All right. Okay. So Sushant Sareen putting his passionate plea forward. And, one thing that we understood on this account is that most of our viewers feel very, very passionately, both about cricket and our relationship or the lack of it with Pakistan. So both of them coming together really, it does have very, very different views and bipolar views that come in. Neeru, go ahead. You wanted to make a point.
Yeah, I just want to make a small point. I completely agree with what Mr. Sareen has said. But in this case, this India-Pakistan thing is not about relations with each other. It's more about the money. Because the maximum money that any cricket match will earn from a tournament like Asia Cup, which is a smaller tournament, will be from an India-Pakistan match. The TRPs, the eyeballs that will garner will be the maximum. The advertisements and the advertisement rates will be the maximum. So I think it's not so much about relations here as much as it is about the money that it's going to garner. Secondly, I think the onus is on the government to take a stand clearly. Either you allow or you don't allow, and that has to be clear. It can't be pick and choose.
Well, you're right there. I'm going to end it there, but we leave it with that question. How much of a price is fair enough for the valor of our braves? How much of a price is fair enough of those who lost their lives in Pahalgam? How much of the price is fair enough to compromise in the name of what we call a new normal? We're going to leave it at that, viewers. But because it is political, I want to quickly cut across to Asaduddin Owaisi, who on the floor of the parliament had made an impassioned speech on why India shouldn't play with Pakistan. He joined me for a podcast a week ago, and this is what he had to say. Thank you, all our guests, for joining us. Thank you there. You've made your stand very clear on India playing Pakistan. There is the Asia Cup coming in. What's your view on that?
No, I said it in Parliament during the Operation Sindoor
Yeah.
debate that when the Prime Minister himself had said many times that water and blood cannot flow, talks and terrorism cannot go together. And rightfully after Operation Sindoor, this government have stopped issuing visas. They have stopped trade, directly, indirect trade. We had, this government has suspended rightfully the Indus Water Treaty. We have stopped 80% of, according to the treaty, 80% of water belongs to Pakistan. We have kept it in abeyance. When all such measures have been taken, how can you jump and play a cricket match? You see, when people say, oh, what when you play other sports? So cricket it is not a sport in India.
Yes.
It's football, hockey, volleyball, kabaddi. These are, I'm sorry to use their sport, but here it's like an obsession.
Yeah, you're right.
Everything comes to a standstill. And like, for example, the last day of that cricket match, I was sitting in my home. I had a parliament to go, but I wanted...
You didn't go?
I went to parliament and I rushed back. Okay. So when fortunately the parliament was not working, I rushed back. Okay. And I had put my cell phone on silent and I was watching, okay, now what's going to happen? You see? So cricket is like that. And then there's so much of money in cricket, which is not there in other sports. So I don't know, I'm surprised and shocked that we are playing a cricket match in Dubai with Pakistan. But anyways, I will not watch it. Because
you won't watch it?
I'll not watch it.
Why wouldn't? Because of Operation Sindoor?
Yeah, because not Operation Sindoor, but because of, that shocking incident of Pahalgam. It is too horrific that someone can be shot in front of their small children, wives, mothers, whatever. It's like you're watching. Your wife is watching her husband being shot in his head. That is very painful. We unfortunately in our country we forget the victims. That is what it is. That's true. When people die either in natural disaster or a bomb blast, we tend to forget. But we, of course, everyone will have to carry on life. But
all right, viewers, latest news break right now coming in. It's been raining incessantly in Mumbai. A monorail has been stuck in Mumbai's eastern suburb due to technical snag and rainfall. Passengers are still stuck inside and are being rescued using a crane. The Mumbai monorail service between Chembur and Bhakti Park came to a halt at about 6:15 p.m. today due to incessant rain. And now the passengers stuck inside the monorail are being taken out with the help of a crane. My colleague Devesh is on the phone line with us. Devesh, over to you.
Well, this is a monorail rake which was at the Mysore line monorail station. And there, as per the monorail officials, it suffered a power surge and a power outage issue, and due to which it got stuck over there. And there were passengers inside who were traveling towards Vadala, when this incident happened. The monorail rake was stuck, and following which monorail officials launched the emergency rescue operation. And what we hear from sources is that cranes were brought in so that the passengers could be rescued safely. The power outage that was suffered in the monorail
have they all been rescued?
At around 6:15 p.m. And the rescue operations were started immediately after that when monorail officials received this information.
Are all passengers safe now?
Well, officials say that all the passengers are safe. There's been no casualty. There's been no injury to anyone. This monorail rake at the Mysore Colony station experienced a minor, this is the official statement which has come from monorail officials, that one monorail train near Mysore Colony station experienced a minor power supply issue. Our operations and maintenance teams are already on site and working to resolve it quickly. For now, services between Vadala and Chembur are running smoothly on a single line. We sincerely thank you for your patience and assure that safety remains our top priority. Normal services will be restored at the earliest.
Stay on
That
with
is
me.
what
Ritvik Balekar is joining us from the spot there. What we've been given to understand, everybody who was stuck in the monorail is now safely rescued by the virtue of a crane. But an abomination, viewers, a little bit of rainfall, incessant rainfall in Mumbai has led to a monorail being struck. My colleague on ground joining us live right now. Over to you. Ritvik Balekar. Go ahead, Ritvik.
Yes, absolutely. I'm not on the spot, but yes, the sources which are on the spot are telling us that there are many passengers who are still stuck inside the monorail. Monorail is used by the eastern suburb passengers who, use it for to and fro for their work, which connects the eastern suburb of Mumbai to the South Mumbai in Vadala. So while the incessant rain was continuing and a technical snag, a power supply issue caused monorail to get stuck between Chembur and Vadala, and since then it's been an hour now. Two snorkel vehicles have been called upon by BMC officials. Police has also reached the spot, and MMRDA officials are also reaching for the rescue operation. The crane of the snorkel vehicle is used, to get those stuck passengers out of that monorail car, and now they have been brought down, but the rescue operation is still ongoing, and many people are still stuck inside, and they are waiting for their turn to get down from that monorail car.
All right, Ritvik, just stay on with me. I want to just quickly, get our viewers up to speed with the latest news that's coming in. Earlier on, the authorities seem to suggest that everyone was rescued safely, but as Ritvik is pointing out, rescue operations are still on. Those visuals that you see on your television screen, clearly there is a power outage in the monorail there. There are no ACs working. You can see the passengers who are cramped inside. For all those viewers who have seen peak hour traffic in Mumbai would understand that what is the situation right now inside this monorail. There are people who are packed to the gills in terms of the space there. One can see the visuals that are coming in, that it's completely packed. There's a power outage, so clearly the air conditioning is not working inside the monorail. And there is no light, precariously perched the monorail. But rescue operations are on, is what we've been given to understand, though there are still a lot of people who continue to remain stuck inside the monorail. Ritvik, it's an abomination that something like this can happen, especially because rain is something that Mumbai is very used to. What really went down that led to an incident such as this?
Since the rail services have been affected and even the streets are flooded, many people resorted, the regular passengers, despite of using local train services and road transport, they got diverted to monorail services, and we can see in the visuals how jam-packed these monorail cars are seen, and maybe that might be the reason that it is overloaded. Only 2 to 3 cars are used for these monorail services, because there's not much footfall on any regular day. But today, because of this unprecedented footfall and unexpected crowd, which has gotten into the car.
All right, so Ritvik, two things. We're going to continue to visit the story. What we know right now, there are people still stuck inside this coach of the monorail, correct?
Exactly, yes.
Okay, so we're going to continue tracking it. These are the visuals, viewers, that are coming in, and it is a travesty of what we're seeing on our television screen. Usually the monorails aren't packed, but because it's a shorter distance, but because it was raining, lots of passengers did take the monorail. One of the reasons for the power outage seems to suggest overloading of passengers. And these are the sad visuals that are coming in from inside the monorail, completely jam-packed with passengers there. A power outage. You can see people fanning themselves. Clearly, the air conditioning is not working. Rescue operations on by the virtue of a crane. Right now, authorities tell us everyone is safe on board. We'll continue to visit the story. Going into a break. When we return, it's a clash of Tamil pride and Telugu assertion when it comes down to two vice presidential candidates. The tale of these two vice presidential candidates and the strategic reason behind it is the story coming up next. Stay with me.
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
I choose a world where we care and we dare to love. I choose a world where we dream and the limit is the sky. And this world is my home where I'm living my best life.
Mindfully crafted home decor fabrics.
Living my best life.
Sansar, a D-Decor brand. Live consciously.
मंगलदीप, दिल से करो बात भगवान के साथ।
मंगलदीप धूप कोन्स 2 गुनी खुशबू के साथ दे पूजा का बेहतर अनुभव।
Moto G96 5G. All eyes on you.
All eyes on you.
How has he seen it all?
Gotta have some spin, never blending, dripping in, dripping like so clean.
Moto G96 5G.
All eyes on you.
हेलो मोटो।
जब मुंबई से वापस कोल्हापुर शिफ्ट हुआ तो सबने कहा कि ड्रीम सिटी को छोड़ रहा है। ड्रीम सिटी तो मैंने कहा ड्रीम में तो यही गलियां आती हैं। तो जब ये रियलाइज़ हुआ कि कुछ बड़ा करने के लिए बड़े शहर में रहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, तब लगा कि लाइफ में ग्रो किया। कशिता ही ऐसे बॉय मिलते मुंबई में, चांस ही नहीं।
SIP करो, इन्वेस्ट करो, लाइफ में ग्रो करो। प्रतिभूति बाजार में निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। निवेश करने से पहले सभी संबंधित दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
All right, viewers, welcome back. It is a game of one-upmanship where it comes down to strategies put together for pushing forth the names for their nominees, where it comes down to vice president for both the NDA and the BJP alliance. After BJP-led NDA named Maharashtra governor and former Tamil Nadu BJP president CP Radhakrishnan as its vice presidential candidate, opposition parties have now announced former Supreme Court Judge Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy as its candidate for the upcoming vice presidential elections. I want to quickly take you through on why both you have at one end the NDA and the other end you have the opposition parties coming together with choices of the reasons and why they have picked them. But before we get into the basics, we're going to put out the graphics right there because we're running short of time. I want to quickly cut across to our guest this evening, Suman C. Raman, political analyst, Aarti Jairat, senior journalist and political commentator. Suman C. Raman, yesterday we were chatting about the NDA's choice of candidate, ticking many boxes. Number one, of course, an RSS candidate, OBC, checkmating or at least putting the DMK in a catch-22 situation when all they wanted is representation. But it does seem that the opposition, India Alliance, thought of exactly the same and have done that with the TDP. However, TDP's come up right now. We just want to tell our viewers to continue to pledge support to the NDA candidate. Over to you, Mr. Raman.
Yeah, I think yesterday we were discussing this, and it was my gut feel that the DMK would not insist on the candidate being from Tamil Nadu, and that was how it has turned out. Now, my concern on this is they've picked someone who does not belong to the OBC community, who comes from the upper caste Reddy community, and who comes from a non-political background. So I don't honestly understand how this is going to create any kind of fissures or pressures on any of the NDA partners to vote in favor of vote against the NDA candidate and in favor of Justice Sudarshan Reddy. So I think that it's at the end of the day, a fight has to be put up. It has got to be a token fight. The India Alliance knows they're losing it. So for that, they've identified a suitable candidate who can potentially, go through the motions. I cannot see this, barring something really unforeseen happening in the next few days. I honestly cannot see this as any more than a token fight put up by the India Alliance. And it is surprising because Mr. Naidu was part of the decision-making process of the NDA. When CPR was picked, Mr. Naidu was in the loop. So to expect him to vote, just because a fellow Telugu has been nominated, that was never going to happen. I mean, it was far more unlikely to happen than even the DMK. So now things will go according to the alliance formation lines, and Mr. CPR should come through quite comfortably. I don't expect any kind of significant cross-voting to be seen in this, but I think that by not putting up an OBC candidate or a Dalit candidate, perhaps from Bihar, I think the India Alliance, maybe they may have missed a trick.
All right, so missed an opportunity there because it could have been a token fight. You could have picked somebody from Bihar, but they attempted to do exactly what they thought that the NDA did, to put the TDP in a spot like many would have thought that the NDA put the DMK in a spot. And Mr. Raman is right, viewers, because if you look at share numbers, and we'll try and put out those graphics there, the NDA have the strength. Tomorrow is going to be the nomination for the NDA candidate, Mr. Radhakrishnan, and then on the 21st of Mr. Reddy, the opposition candidate. The elections happen on the 9th of September. Will there be cross-voting? It doesn't quite seem so. The NDA, the opposition was hoping that it would put the TDP in a spot. That didn't quite happen. They made their allegiance very clear, number one. Number two, the YSRCP, even with their handful of MPs, have decided to stick with the NDA choice, as they had already pledged support to Rajnath Singh, the one who was mediating on the account of the NDA. The BRS, in all probability, will stick with the opposition choice. But Aarti Jairat, what do you make of it?
I mean, I quite agree with the previous panelists. This is just a token fight. And at the end of the day, I think what we'll really get is a head count for the records. How many MPs with the NDA, how many MPs with the opposition? And that's all really it amounts to. Although I think the opposition is trying to pitch it as an ideological fight, given the fact that, Radhakrishnan has an RSS background and is a staunch RSS loyalist. But, the interesting thing about Radhakrishnan is that although he comes from the RSS, and apparently in Tamil Nadu, he was jokingly referred to as the Vajpayee of the BJP in Tamil Nadu, because actually he is known to be a moderate, he's known for his sobriety. And, when the BJP was formed in 1980, he was appointed as an aide to Atal Bihari Vajpayee, who was then the president of the BJP. So maybe some of, Vajpayee's consensual politics rubbed off on Radhakrishnan. And, it's going to be a very interesting thing because he is so diametrically opposite to the previous incumbent. maybe we can hope for some, more stability and some more order.
Mr. Raman, I know you want to come in, but I'm sorry that's all the time that we have for in this segment. But thank you, I appreciate it.
One sentence.
One sentence, sir, quickly.
Yeah. I mean, Mr. Radhakrishnan is not the typical, the RSS man who would go from village to village on a bicycle. He's very wealthy. He declared assets of 67 crore in 2019.
Okay, yeah, he is a businessman. Yes, he's an industrialist on his right. But thank you. I appreciate both of you for joining us. Viewers, let's quickly move on to something that made news on whether there should be enough women representation in the core team of the RSS. What started as a routine book launch quickly transformed into one of the most compelling Q&A moments leading up to the RSS centenary. India Today's executive editor-in-chief, Kali Puri, boldly called for greater female representation and invoked an answer by Mr. Mohan Bhagwat. Listen in.
What began as a ceremonial book launch to usher in the RSS's centenary year quickly turned into a moment of national significance.
श्रीमती कलीपुरी जी हमारे साथ हैं उनके स्वागत के
In a packed auditorium, a seemingly routine event took an unexpected turn as India Today's executive editor-in-chief Kali Puri made two suggestions in her speech to RSS Sarsanchalak Mohan Bhagwat, who promptly replied. Rare and thought-provoking exchange.
श्रीमती कलीपुरी जी से निवेदन है आज के इस अवसर पर अपने विचार हमारे सामने रखें.
Amid her praise for the Sangh's centenary roadmap built on 5 guiding pillars: social harmony, family enlightenment, environmental consciousness, selfhood, and civic responsibility, Kali Puri shifted the conversation towards a bold new idea. She proposed a fresh lens for measuring progress, gross domestic behavior. Economic growth, she argued, must be matched by ethical growth. India Today's GDP findings revealed a disturbing reality about the nation's social fabric.
Since I have been given free rein, which I greatly appreciate and value, I would like to end with 2 suggestions for the RSS as they draw up their blueprint for the next 100 years. Firstly, in our first gross domestic behavior study, Indians' attitude to accepting corruption of a way of life is very disheartening. In one state, corruption is accepted as a necessity by 94% respondents. We must not allow this collective surrender to corruption, and we must work hard together to root it out.
Then came the moment that shifted the tone to push for more inclusivity. Kali Puri posed a pointed, forward-looking question. Will the RSS's vision for the next century place women at the heart of decision-making?
Women could be included more in the leadership council of the main RSS organization. But I believe some representation is necessary in the core council if we want to bring about societal change. And they should be included not just because of their gender, but because of merit and because women are the tentpole, the change agent of every family and society.
Her challenge was clear. Progress isn't just about planning, it's about participation. Mohan Bhagwat did not shy away. He acknowledged the direct suggestion and pointed to the role of the Rashtra Sevika Samiti, emphasizing that women already contribute to key discussions and explained how. Looking ahead, he committed to widening their participation in implementation bodies as the RSS steps into a centennial chapter.
हमारी जो कोर बॉडी रहती है निर्णय करने वाली प्रतिनिधि सभा, उसमें विभिन्न संगठनों में काम करने वाली मातृशक्ति को बाकायदा निमंत्रण रहता है. वहाँ के सारे संवाद में उनका भी सहयोग रहता है, चर्चा में उनका भी सहभाग होता है, निर्णय हमारा सबका मिलके होता है.